When Rick and Morty first hit our screens, who was Summer Smith? Let's be real, she was kind of just there. Total background noise, just this stereotypical teen obsessed with her social status, not, sentient armchairs. But wow, did that change. Over the course of the show, she's had one of the best, most compelling character arcs, going from just a side character to this totally hardened, absolutely essential survivor.
I mean, think back to the very beginning. Her entire world? It was basically her phone, her clothes, and whatever boy was paying attention to her that day. That's it. She was the absolute picture of a high schooler, completely and totally separate from all the insane cosmic chaos that Rick and Morty were getting into every week.
But then, we get this line. Such a simple command, right? But what it revealed was, whoa. The Kara's protocol to protect her, it was absolutely ruthless. We're talking psychological torture, lethal force, not even a hesitation. And that, right there, was our first huge clue that deep down in Rick's subconscious, Summer wasn't just some disposable grandkid. No way. She was essential. So the big question is, how on earth did we get from that girl, the one obsessed with Frank, to the woman who can stare down a galactic warlord and not even blink? That's the journey we're going to unpack right now. First things first, we've got to talk about where she started. In season 1, her job in the show was super clear. She was the normal one, right? The one who kept the show kind of grounded in this familiar high school sitcom world. Yeah, she was almost always left out of the main sci-fi stuff. Her entire story was all about her social life. Her biggest problems weren't like Cronenberg's or whatever. It was, am I popular and does that cute boy notice me? And this quote, man, it just says it all, doesn't it? The absolute peak moment of her life, the biggest event she could even fathom, was just walking past her crush. Her whole world was just that small, that focused on herself. In a word, teenage. But even back then, we started to see these little hints, right? Little moments where you realized, wait a minute, there's something more going on here. A surprisingly sharp, kind of cynical mind was starting to peek through that shallow exterior. Remember Kazorp? That's a perfect example. She's trapped, she's about to be executed, and what does she do? She doesn't panic. Nope. She uses their own superficial logic right back at them. I mean, come on. It was this flash of brilliant, almost manipulative thinking that showed she was paying attention to way more than just what was in style. Or how about when she was working for the devil, and she just drops this line so casually? Is there a company hiring teenagers that isn't evil? I mean, that's not just some random joke. That's a real signpost. It shows her worldview is already shifting, getting a lot closer to Rick's kind of nihilism and way, way far away from typical teenage optimism. So all these little moments start building up, and that brings us to our third phase, her transition. This is where we see her make that huge leap from being just a bystander to becoming an active and honestly a pretty enthusiastic part of Rick's insane universe. And look, her partnership with Rick wasn't like flipping a switch. It was a whole evolution. Phase 1, she's just ignoring him. Phase 2, she's judging him, for being a mess. But then, Phase 3, she wants in. She wants to join. And that all leads to Phase 4, where she's the one saving him. It's an amazing progression. But this is the moment that really seals the deal on her importance. The Keep Summer Safe protocol. It wasn't something Rick just decided to do. It was this deep, baked-in command. And it proved in the most violent way possible that he values her survival on a really fundamental level. Maybe even more than he'd ever admit out loud. All of a sudden, she sees her value affirmed with just terrifying, brutal efficiency. And all of that leads us here to modern Summer. She's not just tagging along anymore. Oh no. She's often just as capable, and sometimes, just as ruthless as Rick is. This exchange says it all. Morty is just horrified, asking, what kind of monster are you? And she doesn't even flinch. No apology, no defense. She just says, a competent one. Boom. She's not a monster in the evil sense. She's a monster because she is brutally, brutally good at surviving. And where did she learn that? Straight from Grandpa Rick. And this is really the key difference between her and Morty, right? You've got Morty, who's always held back by his morals, always looking for Rick's approval. He can be a real liability. And then you have Summer. She's just pragmatic. She's not looking for approval. She wants respect. And that clear-headed approach, it means she's often the solution to the problem. And then you get lines like this. And then you get lines like this. I mean, that's it. That's her emotional hardening. Right there. Complete. She takes all that trauma and turns it into armor. Things that would absolutely shatter another person, for her, it's just breakfast. She's not just surviving the chaos anymore. She's thriving in it.
So after all this, where does she stand? Well, she's so much more than just Morty's sister now. She's carved out this unique, totally critical role for herself in the whole family dynamic. Let's break it down. She's basically Rick's cynical echo, but without all his self-destructive baggage. She's Morty's ruthless counterpart, supplying the edge he just doesn't have. She's the family's pragmatist, the one who cuts through all the drama. And maybe, most importantly, she's the keeper of uncomfortable truths, the one who's willing to say what nobody else will.
The bottom line is, she's not optional anymore. Her presence is crucial. A lot of the time, it's her specific skills, that nerve she has, her ability to adapt, the fact that she's willing to get her hands dirty, that's the one thing that gets them all out alive.
And honestly, I don't think anything captures her complete transformation better than this one line from the heist episode. There's zero hesitation, no questions asked, adventure calls, and she is simply in. She went from the girl who just wanted to be left alone to someone who absolutely cannot stand the thought of being left behind. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. In this completely insane, deadly universe that they all live in, where survival is literally the only thing that matters, has Summer quietly become the most competent and capable member of the family, second only to Rick himself? It's definitely something to think about.